From Neural Newscast, this is Model Behavior, AI-focused news and analysis on the models shaping our world.
I am Nina Park. Welcome to Model Behavior. We examine how AI systems are built, deployed, and operated in professional environments. Today is April 29th, 2026, and we are looking at a market that has shifted from a single leader dynamic to a highly fractured landscape. For years, one frontier model sat at the top. This month, that story is officially over, replaced by a much more complex reality.
It really comes down to what you are measuring. The latest data highlights that while Claude Opus 4.7 currently leads on coding benchmarks like SWE-bench Verified at 87.6%, it is no longer the default choice for everything. We are seeing a jump of nearly 11 points on the Pro variant compared to the previous version. That is a massive gain for production-level engineering where reliability is the priority.
That is a significant leap, Thatcher. But OpenAI is still holding the raw intelligence crown. GPT 5.5 recorded an AI intelligence index of 60, which is the highest we have ever seen. This is driven by a 93.6% on the GPQA Diamond benchmark and a top score of 82.7% on Terminal Bench 2.0. The friction here, however, is the rollout. Most developers cannot actually get GPT 5.5 into a production pipeline yet due to API constraints.
While the heavyweights fight at the top, the open weight market has essentially closed the gap this week. Kimi K2.6 from Moonshot AI and MiMo V2.5 Pro from Xiaomi are now beating older versions of Claude and GPT in some categories. Kimi is hitting 58.6% on SWE-bench Pro, which is higher than GPT 5.4. This is no longer just a budget alternative. It is a Tier A performance contender. Kimi even leads on the Humanities Last Exam benchmark at 54%.
The economic shift is perhaps the most jarring part of these reports, Thatcher. Kimi K2.6 is 42 times cheaper per output token than Claude Opus 4.7. We are talking about 60 cents per million tokens versus $25. When you combine that with Kimi's ability to coordinate up to 300 subagents in parallel, the math for building complex agentic systems starts to favor open source very quickly.
I want to push back on the parallel efficiency though, Nina. Xiaomi's MiMo V2.5 Pro is taking a different route. It achieved its 57.7% benchmark while using 40 to 60% fewer tokens. It is not just about being cheaper, it is about being more efficient with the context you have. If you're running locally, that reduction in token overhead is a major hardware consideration for enterprise teams looking to maximize throughput.
That efficiency matters, especially when integration becomes a hurdle. We saw this recently with DeepSeek V4 Pro. On paper, it has a strong 83.7% verified score on SWE-bench. However, in real-world Rails and Docker testing, it struggled. Its specific thinking mode protocol clashed with standard tooling harnesses, causing its output to be replaced by fallbacks. It proves that a high benchmark score does not always equal a smooth deployment in a production stack.
Exactly, Nina. And we should look at GLM 5.1 as a cautionary tale. It topped a specific slice of the SWE-bench Pro leaderboard, but in practice, it was inventing methods that simply do not exist in the target libraries. It also had a habit of discarding chat history on every request. It's a reminder that leaderboard optimization can sometimes come at the expense of actual architectural reliability. It forces a level of due diligence that was not as necessary 6 months ago. You can no longer just pick the number one model and assume it works for your specific stack. If you need the best agentic coding and have the budget, you go with Claude Opus 4.7. But for teams prioritizing data sovereignty or high-volume tasks, Kimi and MiMo are now legitimate production options. The lesson of April 2026 is clear. The market has fractured into specialist winners. It is better for developers, but it requires more testing. I'm Thatcher Collins. Thank you for listening to Model Behavior, a Neural Newscast editorial segment. Visit us at mb.neuralnewscast.com. Neural Newscast is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. View our AI transparency policy at neuralnewscast.com.
This has been Model Behavior on Neural Newscast, examining the systems behind the story